Well, Matt, you excited for Call of Duty 4 Modern War, or is it Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Boy,
yeah.
the naming in COD
I am
is
excited.
insane.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited for the new Call of. This is actually the very first Modern Warfare 4. Man, say that 10 times fast. Good Lord.
The COD naming convention is out of control. They don't know what they're doing anymore. They've reset it to like just Call of Duty, and then there's like Call of Duty Modern War. It's like then they're remastering the ones, and now it's just yeah. So there was a Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but this new one is now Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. So
Was there a Modern Warfare 4? I don't think there. I think it was 1, 2, and 3. Then they reset to 2019. We went back to Modern Warfare 1, and now we're back. Now we're up to 4. I think this might be the first time we've gotten to 4.
I don't know. I can't keep track of it. It's pure chaos. It's such chaos.
It is actually chaos. Yeah.
I cannot believe they haven't found a better naming convention. They just need to go FIFA or Madden or whatever, where it's just like, it's the 2026 COD. Just Call of Duty 2026. Just play this one, you know?
Just wait until 2029 rolls around. They're like, we're back to Modern Warfare again. It's starting over.
They're going to like change one letter of the spelling where it's like, you know, they just spell it some like weird, cool way where it's like warfare spelled
Elite
different.
speak.
Yeah. And you're like, is that a 3 in Warf at the end of Warfare? Did they just change the E? Okay, so now we have to refer to, yeah. They're going to elite speak it. It's the only option, really. I actually thought the trailer was kind of cool. I got a little flack for being like, not bad. I'll be honest, not bad. People are like, oh, it's another Call of Duty. How dare you be excited for a COD?
Well, there's a difference between being excited and also being like, okay, you know, it looks all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also Call of Duty. Like, it's going to be.
Yeah.
What do you want? For the people that are like, oh, it's the same thing what do you want them to do? Like, what do you want them to do?
If you were on bicycles, people would be livid, you know? They'd be like, why are we on bicycles? I want my boots on the ground, man.
Yeah. So I hear people's complaints because I have those similar complaints. But at the same time, as long as it's good and it's fun, like, you know, that's
I mean, I wasn't like, I didn't like call you on the phone. I was so excited about the COD trailer. I was like, Matt, have you seen it?
About something else.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh man. No, I thought the trailer looked cool. What I liked about the trailer is that it kind of looked like they were taking cues from Battlefield, didn't it? Where they didn't have these like super gruff, like, you know, stars of the show coming in and like just, you know, with ammo strapped all over them and doing all the crazy stuff. It looked like soldiers in a war.
It did look like they were going for more a grounded vibe.
Yes. Yeah.
And then now they've been calling out. They've been specifically saying that we're trying to make this more authentic. There was some content creators poking fun. It's like, I can't wait until season 2. We've got My Little Pony, and they're like, we get it. You're view farming. Like, actually, the Call of Duty Twitter responded. It's like, we get it. You're view farming, but we've made our stance clear. It's like, okay, well then deliver, because people are clearly getting tired of the Fortnite-ification of everything Call of Duty.
They've pretty much done it with every game, even the ones that start out feeling more authentic. Eventually, somehow, you know, Nicki Minaj or like Rick and Morty works their way into the skin set. Yeah, I mean, granted, sometimes it tickles me where I still am like blown away that they got the Gundam into Call of Duty and you could just be a Gundam. I was like, okay, well, I love Gundam so much that I'm okay with this, but otherwise this is terrible and abhorrent.
It's incredibly jarring. I mentioned this probably a year ago where I just was perusing through some videos, and then I saw a guy drop in, and he all of a sudden I just see the Ninja Turtles roll up, and I'm like, what is going on right now? It was such a jarring, like, visceral experience of like, what even is this game anymore?
Yeah.
This is just Call of Duty, but Donatello was punching you in the face, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
very
it's
strange.
When you're trying to play the game where you're like, all right, check your 6. You know, like, I got 15 rounds left. I'm not going to risk a reload. And you turn the...
okay.
Then you turn...
playing Call of Duty like that level, but I hear what you're saying.
And you peek the corner and then a Gundam cuts your head off with a lightsaber, and you're like, what just happened, dude? What are we playing?
I hear you.
You know what I will give COD some credit for? Well, I don't even know if they deserve credit or they're just making so many games they don't have any option. They're one of the few games that's like, sure, we'll launch a month after Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. Because
Do we know when Grand Theft Auto is coming out?
I think the release date is yeah, they gave us a release date. It was like
They did?
Is it September, right? GTA 6 release date. Oh, November. Okay,
November 19th is what AI is saying, but is that actually an official release date?
I thought they did. I
feel like there'd be bigger news.
Okay. I thought that was official.
I could be very wrong. I could be.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto confirmed release date. Some random YouTuber. Yeah.
Man.
Okay. The Wikipedia is saying November 19th, so we'll go with that. Sure.
Okay. So this is going to come out a month before. Sorry, I got that wrong. A month before GTA 6 potentially. So I wanted to bring this up because last week or a few weeks ago we talked about Star Citizen saying, "Hey, we're on track to release in 2026, but if we're not ready, if we're too close to GTA 6, then we reserve the right to delay," basically. And also the same thing just got announced last week with Fable, a game that I'm actually looking forward to. It already got delayed once by about a year.
Yeah, it's getting delayed again.
And now they're like, "Hey, we're actually on track. Just so you know, this isn't us being like, oh, we couldn't deadline right, but they just don't want to launch within any time period close to GTA 6. Yeah, I get it. I'm wondering what the game situation is going to be like toward the end of the year, where with new releases, it'll just be like crickets and then just GTA 6.
It could also be a good time to release, because if everyone's scared to release and then people are like, well, yeah, Grand Theft Auto is cool and all, but I was hoping for something else. And then there's like only one or two games. Those one or two games could be like really capitalized on it. So it'll be interesting to see how it all is handled. Because I don't think everyone is going to play Grand Theft Auto for a month and only Grand Theft Auto for like a month, right? They're going to,
and I think a lot of gamers are not going to buy Grand Theft Auto as well, right? Like,
yeah, there will be a lot of people that skip it.
It will be the most successful and most popular game of all time, almost guaranteed.
Yeah,
but there's going to be a huge player base that has zero interest in that gameplay loop or whatever, and the style. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of other like niches will do well. But yeah, if you're doing a kind of an action-y type game, it's
or a big AAA title that needs to actually compete with those bigger audiences.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we'll get a ton of great indie titles launching around then. Who are just like, cool. You're gonna play this game. You don't care about GTA 6 or something.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's ballsy, right? It'd be ballsy.
It would be ballsy. It would be. I probably wouldn't do it, but
yeah,
I'm also not an indie developer.
Yeah. So they are bringing back DMZ with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Are you excited? Do you care? Do you?
I don't know. That kind of just turned into the beginning of Lion King. Yeah, exactly. I am intrigued. I thought DMZ back in the day was interesting, but it never really felt like it was fully developed. It felt like it was just a kind of a test bed, and it had a lot of promise, but it just like it didn't interest me. I know like there's some content creators and friends that really jived with it, and that became like their thing, was they just were DMZ players, but yeah, there was no like stash. There was no accumulating like a stash at all. And so it felt very just non-committal sort of extraction game that, it was kind of cool, I guess.
I think it's really hard to do an extraction game where they're like, this is basically going to die out and we're going to stop supporting it. Yeah. So like either you have your Tarkov, which is like, you are committed to this forever, and your stash and all that stuff.
That's the game.
Yeah, that's the game, is building up your stash and then rinse and repeat when the cycle resets or whatever, or Arc Raiders where you don't have to. You can always keep your stash if you want to. And then this being like, we'll do this for like a year or something. It's like, well, who's going to commit to that for a long period of time then if they know it's just finite, right? You want to You want to invest and commit to a character for a game that you think is going to try and support itself for as long as it possibly can. And we are conditioned to Call of Duty having sort of these royales or extractions that sort of have a shelf life, and I don't know, but maybe their microtransactions work so well. That's the thing that always throws me off about COD is like, they have such a big emphasis on microtransaction skins and all that stuff. And then the next game comes out and then you're like, okay, did you just invest a whole bunch of cosmetics in a game that lasted a year-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Invest.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I always find that to be a funny word for skin games.
I know. I don't know what else to call it because you're sort of like,
you buying a skin to enjoy it in the moment, there's nothing. I get what you're saying, and I think there is an intrinsic. People feel like there's an intrinsic value that they're putting into it, and that value needs to hold its weight, between game to game and forever. But you go to see a movie and that's it.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm comparing it to like say, the early days of games. Microtransactions, which would have been like World of Warcraft, right? So you buy a cool skin or a mount or whatever it is in WoW. You have that forever.
And it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. You can log back in decades later and be like, check out this skin that I got 2 decades ago.
You
that
may
nobody
never
else can
even
get.
use it, but it's there.
Yeah.
And there is value that people have in that. I feel like I still have it. So yeah, it's the reason why people were giving Call of Duty grief last time is there was a transition. I can't remember what it was, but there was a transition where people lost their skins and people like really were upset. And I think it was because they were expecting it to just continue on and they didn't. I don't know if they remedied that because I don't follow Call of Duty like I used to, or as closely. But yeah, it's just kind of a part of microtrans. It's like you gotta buy it just to enjoy it in the moment. And if you need to play this a decade later and you really need to have that skin in the next Call of Duty 8 or whatever, then you might be out of luck.
Yeah, it would be interesting if I don't know. I'm just thinking of dumb finance systems for them to like carry value over. But at this point, I just don't really care. It's like, okay. Yeah. It's all chaos. The COD ecosystem is all chaos to me.
Because then it becomes so much more complicated because if they're updating their engine, if they're updating like their, everything. So it's like, do we just want everything to stay static and just play the same Call of Duty? Because then you get a, Rainbow Six Siege kind of experience where it kind of looks the same for like a decade. And they've updated the graphics here and there, but it's definitely still the same looking game. And if you want the graphics to actually improve and a better engine or whatnot in the future, you're kind of limiting yourself because of that. Unless you want them to go back and then like update all of those into a new engine, which is asking for a lot.
It's really hard. I mean, they've obviously done it with games like Counter-Strike, but it's been a huge ordeal each time. They're like, here's a new engine. And you're like, okay, well, the game doesn't feel the same way. And then people are pissed off for like 2 years or something until they get it dialed in. It's such a hard thing to do to upgrade old tech and still appease the old audience and the new audience. And World of Warcraft has done that too, and they for a long time supported the old style visuals until they were finally like, all right, guys, like you got to upgrade. Like there's nothing we can do about it.
I'm always going to be in favor of them supporting keeping people's microtransactions between games because that would be great for consumers. But I also understand why it doesn't happen because that's just...
It'd be too hard.
It's a big undertaking.
Well, plus, people are like, if you bought your clown skin from, Call of Duty whatever version, and then the new game comes out and everybody brings their Nicki Minaj and clown skins over, people are like, great, now it just feels like garbage right at the start.
Yeah, if you want to have a clean reset where it's like we're finally getting that gritty feel, but all those previous ones are still there. Sorry guys, can't do anything about it. Then you're out of luck. Yeah. What did you think of the little bit of gameplay that you saw? Because the movement looked pretty fluid, but also not like cracked out at the same time. It looked like they were going for like a little bit of a mix between the two.
I'm in the minority when it comes to Call of Duty movement in that I like the crazy stuff they've done with like Advanced Warfare where you had like jump jets and stuff and wall running. I like the wall running. I found it fun and cool and it reminded me of my arena shooter days.
Fair enough.
But I'm an old school gamer, so I appreciate the movement shooters more than maybe the average Call of Duty player does. So I liked what I saw in the trailer. It seems like if I was a dev over there, I'd be getting bored as heck from just the standard corner peeking gameplay also. Like, I'd be like, how can we mix this up, guys? So yeah, there's like really clean vaulting transitions and stuff like that where people were
over cars.
Yeah. I don't want to call it parkour, but it was quick.
It really kind of was though, because like they were like climbing up pipes and stuff like that to then get into like windows and things, right? Like there was definitely a little bit of parkour to it, and it looked fluid. And the way that they're describing it is that it should feel really intuitive. When you're on the sticks, you can just run up to a wall, and your character will do the thing that you expect it to do.
Yeah,
and if they can actually deliver with that, we'll see.
Yeah, little Assassin's Creed meets Call of Duty. You know,
I guess maybe not that extreme, but I hear you.
I mean, if it works well, I think what they're trying to do is they want people to feel like it's an authentic, grounded, gritty experience, but also have some fun with the gameplay. And that's a hard line to walk. And I think they're doing a decent job with it so far, but we'll see. I'm a fan of them keeping things more grounded and gritty looking, and also movement at the same time. So it seems like they're sort of designing it around like what I would want from a COD game. So I'm happy about that. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. So Nvidia had, I forgot which trade show happened last week or whatever, but they announced all this new tech. What's interesting is they announced their new RTX Spark like chipset or SoC or whatever. It's basically an all-in-one chipset where you've had this before where like if you get a laptop or kind of a budget PC, you'll get a CPU GPU combo basically where it's less horsepower, but it can do some stuff. So Nvidia's got their new RTX Spark all-in-one chip, and it sounds pretty damn powerful, and it's got tons of AI capabilities in it, and it just seems huge surprise. The next line of GPUs, provided that there is a next line, like people can buy GPUs at some point.
The 60 series?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just going to be AI front and center. Yeah. That's going to be all the tech is like, how fast can it run AI systems that are going to be running in your video game to some extent? It's pretty crazy, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to see an Nvidia chipset going front and center. I guess it's running on like some ARM architecture, so it's not like Nvidia built the whole like CPU and GPU. They like worked with ARM to build this chip. But it's just new territory to a degree, and
it's the first time I'm hearing of it.
Having these super powered like little laptops and stuff and handhelds that can all of a sudden compute local AI system models and stuff like that. I think there's going to be a really big value to that down the road, because that's what I was saying at GDC was like Nvidia cards running like, tutorial agents that were LLM based. So you're just like, I'm having trouble on this boss. How do I beat this boss? And then it'd be like, all right, based on your gameplay, you're struggling with this. And then like give you a suggestion on how to improve. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. But that works at a local level. It's not connecting to the internet using an API, running it through whatever GPT or something, and then coming back to you. It's running on your GPU. So that's like where the tech is going for a lot of the game related stuff, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting, but
it's interesting.
It's kind of like where they made CUDA cores initially and nobody cared or wanted about it because none of the games supported it. Right. And now it's like super good at all kinds of like upscaling and DLSS 4.5, which looks incredible. And all that stuff.
Sometimes you have to push things in a direction and then see what happens with it.
Yeah. So I anticipate the next series of cards are going to come out and they're going to be like, check out all these AI chips. And everybody's going to be like, lame. What do we can do? Oh, we can turn on this one feature in this one game, and then give it 2 years and everybody's going to have local AI agents
AI
in games.
assistant.
Yeah, basically.
Would you like me to beat this boss for you?
Essentially, oh god, it's gonna happen.
Get good, nerd.
Yeah.
Look at how easy that was.
Yeah, or incredible AI running off of your AI chips on your GPUs, right? Like enemy AI in the games. NPCs is what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Right.
The AI is too much of a blanket statement these days.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, but incredible NPCs in video games running locally so they don't have the latency of, connecting to a web client and having that run it for you and being way too expensive. I see a lot of stuff changing in the very near future, and this is sort of the beginning of it, is with Nvidia launching these like super powered laptops that can do all this in AI stuff.
Well, we'll have to keep our eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, if we can afford anything in the future, the Steam Deck price has gone through the roof, and it's bad in our country, but in other countries, it's like doubled the entry fee. So I think I'm trying to remember what it was initially.
And it's not a new product either, which is nuts.
I know.
I think it's like 5 years old now, and it's bumping up like 200, 300, depending on which one you get. It's nuts.
Yeah, they updated the screen to OLED, but that's it. So you get a 90 hertz OLED screen instead of a 60 hertz normal screen.
Right.
But, which is a nice upgrade, but the hardware itself is the same. And people are anticipating, so, this price bump, of course, is due to the AI, shortage on RAM and parts and
everything.
Everything is going on. I saw a bunch of stuff where Valve actually was starting to get flack for a change. I'd never seen that, but people are pissed, right? Because they want to buy
rightfully so
a Steam Deck or the Steam machine that's coming out, and the prices are just going to make it unaffordable. Because if that Steam machine is $1,000 for something that otherwise would be marketed towards the console gamer, right? Because that's the demo they're going for. Who the heck is going to buy it? Right? Who can afford to buy it? Or it's going to be like you buy one console every decade or something, The prices on things are getting really crazy, unfortunately. And part of it is out of Valve's control. The other part that people were digging Valve for was okay, everybody was bringing up the fact that Gabe has tons of yachts. He's got a yacht fleet. They make crap loads of money. And they're not eating the cost of some of this hardware, which is what PlayStation and Xbox do, right? Is they eat a lot of that cost for their consumers so that they can keep the consumer base on their hardware and then sell their games at the 30% rev split.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what Valve would definitely benefit from, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. So then, maybe they are eating some of the cost.
I was going to say, we don't even know how much it is costing to make these things these days. I doubt it's $1,000, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that their finances are actually breaking even, where they're like, we're actually selling this at cost because we just don't want the product to fail. And that at cost price is like crazy expensive. And then the Steam Decks also sold out as soon as they got them back in stock, which could be scalpers.
Some people are speculating it was because scalpers were already prepared and they just bought them up not knowing the price was going to increase. And so they just gobbled it up at a bigger, the higher price on accident.
Now they're going to be hawking those things for years. Or they're literally banking on people wanting them and just...
that's definitely what they're banking on. Yeah.
But so the price went up, and now there's a lot of really attractive looking handhelds that are kind of Steam Deck equivalents that are now within the same price range, but are offering a lot more hardware power than the Steam Deck does. Because like you said, Steam Deck's old now, right?
Yeah.
It's been around for quite a while. No hardware upgrade. Well, there's a lot of newer ones out that are actually at competitive price ranges. So part of me is wondering, why the heck is the Steam Deck so much more expensive for older gen hardware? Now, granted, they had a bunch of that stuff proprietary designed, and they probably have a much better controller interface and all that stuff, but I think they're lumping in some of the R&D costs, right, as opposed to just pure manufacturing costs. So,
yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Hey, I hear you played a little 007? Little James Bond?
I did, yes. James Bond. It was fantastic.
Did you
really
beat it?
liked it. I beat it. Yeah. Took
Nice.
about 18 hours for me to beat, start to finish. There's still, if I wanted to, a lot of there's like an end game kind of mode where you can do missions and try to get challenges and stuff like that. Made by the Hitman developers.
Yep.
And you'd think like, oh, it's going to be James Bond, but Hitman. And it kind of is in some ways. You can see where they took their expertise and the style of Hitman and infused that when it was desirable and needed. But then they also made their own game. It is 100% a like James Bond experience, like what you would expect from a Bond game, right? Character is witty, charming. He's definitely sly with the ladies, and at the same time, you've got your stealth and your action, bombastic nonsense happening, right? Like it's just fun. It was just a fun ride from start to finish. They have one of the best tutorials that I've experienced. They do a training montage because this isn't spoiler. This is literally set up the game. Yeah. It is. He's not 007 yet. He's being recruited by MI6 to join the 00 program, and he has to go through training. Mm-hmm. And so it introduces characters through this training montage, and it kind of like bounces between things in a really cool way, like you would see in a movie, but then you're playing it, right? So you're learning along the way. It introduces all of so it's introducing mechanics, introducing story beats, and does it really, really well. It was just very fluid, and it didn't feel like you were like, all right, soldier, move forward with the W key to reach the flag, right? It wasn't anything like that. Which
Press
can
shift
really
to crouch under the fallen tree. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it did that, but it did it in a way that made sense for telling the story and the character, right? And I thought that was really well done.
Sick.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I've been watching little clips and streams and whatnot, and I'm like, man, some of those sequences where like he, triggers a detonation and you just see this massive series of explosions. You're like, whoa, why does that look so much cooler in this game than like any other game I've seen it in? They're just, these devs, I saw a presentation of theirs at GDC, and their understanding of light systems and game engines and stuff, I was like, dang, these guys know their stuff. They're deep in it, like with engine tech. They're veteran devs, and it's cool to see and hear. And basically, from a visual standpoint, they are top of their game right now.
The gameplay loop, I should say, is that a lot of the missions. So it actually took about the tutorial took around like 2 to 3 hours, which you might think is like, whoa. Yeah. But that's like, and then after that, it puts you into like the main structure of the game, where you'll enter into like a map, and then it kind of turns into Hitman, where you need to explore around and you need to figure out like, okay, I need to get to this place. I need to do this, but I need to go talk to people and like eavesdrop on conversations to gather clues to be like, oh, there's a dude, who's missing, and I could use his key card, but now I got to go find that dude. Maybe he's in the bathroom because he's really stressed out, right? And oh, lo and behold, he's in the bathroom, right? Things like that. So that's where the Hitman gameplay kind of gets infused. And then you kind of go from there to get more stealth and then action oriented, usually by the end of the mission.
It's nice to see that kind of progression though, because not that many games have a fun sense of evolution to the gameplay. It's like either you're full on Doom, and just blowing things up from start to finish, or you're fully stealth from start to finish.
The pacing constantly is going. It's not all over the place, but there is a pacing to it where it's not just all stealth. It's not just all action. There is different things segmenting it.
What happens if you go loud early in a mission?
Well, you can go loud, and then if you're within an area, so like if you get caught and someone's like, hey, you, what are you doing there? You punch them in the face, and you knock them. Dude, the combat is wild. The way that they interact with the environment. So you like grab a guy, and then he'll interact, and he'll slam him into like a bookcase or a glass case, and the glass will shatter and go everywhere, and it's really punchy, and it really feels like these people are trying to kill each other.
Nice.
Right? Like it's really intense, and I really liked the gameplay, like melee combat. But if you are able to successfully drop them without them like making enough noise, it will say situation contained, and then you can go back to stealth if you want to. The AI, a little unobservant of their surroundings.
Okay.
They're very, I wouldn't say it is easy. This is not like a hard game, even if you're playing on the purist, which I did. Like the AI, like you can kind of just basically walk around them in some ways where you're like, this guy should have been able to see me, but it's a game. It's James Bond. It's not meant to be, mega hardcore, right? So that could turn some people off. It didn't detract from the game, but it was something that people are going to notice. Like the AI can be a little derpy, but there are so many things that you can interact with. You've got this little gadget that allows you to, like, you can use a dart, like a blow dart. You can like flashbangs, like a flash gadget, and they interact all with the NPCs, but also with the environment. So, Q Lab.
Yeah.
The Q Lab is where they develop all these gadgets.
Right.
So there's, I don't want to, okay, never mind. I want to spoil it.
Okay.
But let's just say there's a lot of cool interactions in the game where like, holy cow, like, oh, the chandelier went down, obvious, right? But then there's just like fans and lights, and they do things in interesting ways. You're like, whoa, that was really cool, right? And every mission has these different unique objects laying around, and there's tons of them everywhere, and you can use that to get from point A to point B in a sneaky way or a loud way, and
that's really
it makes it really fun.
Yeah, when it's
cool.
Discover something, or you feel like you discovered it, you're like, oh man, that was my idea. I thought about using that in that way. That's cool. People are loving this game. I think it's their best-selling game ever. The studio's best-selling game, or fastest selling game.
In 24 hours, they sold 1.5 million. So it's doing pretty good.
They're doing well. They're happy with it. This is exciting because when it comes to James Bond games, there's just been a massive drought, right?
There's been nothing.
Yeah, there was like N64 Bond, which was like the biggest game ever, and then like some kind of mediocre follow-ups, sort of, and then, as far as I know, not anything.
Not much. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the last one was like 2013 or something.
Yeah. Granted, I haven't been following them too closely, but there hasn't been anybody super excited about Bond games for a long time. So it's cool to see, because obviously like James Bond is a massive franchise, and it's probably just going to keep going forever. And the games have only incrementally capitalized on the massive success of the film franchise. And it's like, it could be better, because I mean, I think this game's showing the potential of like what modern hardware and modern capabilities can do with that world.
It's not perfect. There are some pain points. As I said, that the AI can be kind of dumb. Some of the bosses and like boss set pieces can feel a little lame. There was one where you're driving and you shoot what you're driving has a weapon, but it just locks on to things in front of you. You're not actually aiming it. And it's like, ooh, this feels really awkward and not great. So there's some clunk, right, on a few of it, but that does not detract for me from the overall experience. It also kind of overstays its welcome a little bit by the end. Like by the end, I was like, okay, all right, this doesn't feel like padding necessarily, but it feel like it didn't need to last as long as it, Okay. I was kind of like, all right, I'm ready for this to wrap up. But that could have been because I'm a streamer.
The villain monologue went on for too long, Matt.
No, there's like 2 missions at the end where you're like, oh wow, there's 2 more missions, and that's another like hefty amount. And it could have been because I streamed it in 3 days in a row, where I was like, okay, I'm ready for it to end. Kind of a streamer problem. But if you're just playing organically, over a couple of weeks, it may not feel that way. But minor complaints to an overall really fun game.
I always find that so funny, is like, it's either this game doesn't have enough content, or like, I think it was too long, man. I got like kind of annoyed trying to finish this game. Finding that
definitely
balance,
didn't reach that territory.
So hard as a developer, right?
Yeah. Making sure everything feels unique and interesting throughout the entire experience. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
But like I said, minor complaint. It wasn't a big deal. I loved it. I really did enjoy the game a lot.
Yeah. Well, cool. I played a game that is probably equally anticipated and hyped up. A little $5 Steam game called Starvester.
Starvester.
Starvester. You harvest,
like harvester, but you're harvesting stars.
Yep, basically an entire solar system until you get to the star.
That's cool.
It's an adorable little, I don't know what to call it, sort of RTS type game, but
Okay.
you don't have quite as many options as an RTS. It's pretty basic. You're building little drones and sending them out to planets and harvesting their resources, and then those resources allow you to, build the thing you need to harvest, the next thing in the system, and the next, and the next, and the next. It's a cute little game. I think built by a solo dev. I was just following him on social media because I saw his game and I was like, that looks awesome. You can like eventually harvest a star, and it's like, yeah, it's like an RT. It's like a city building game, sort of. You're not really building a city, but you're building a system that just harvests an entire solar system. And so just thinking about that concept on that scale.
Endgame capitalism, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go.
totally, right? You're just harvesting like the mass resources of a whole solar system with like, you get this little ring that like flies around the asteroid belt and just harvests all the asteroids and stuff. And then
that's cool.
And what I like about it is it has real Newtonian physics, or at least it fakes it really well for sending resources back to your main planet. Like you have a hub planet in the system that you start on. And then when you expand and you send little drones out to other planets and you build resource harvesting resources on those planets, they'll shoot the little drones off. But when they shoot them off, they're in like this incredibly smart orbit that you're like, wait, my planet's over that way. And then you see the object like get shot, and then it like slingshots around something and then comes all the way back to your planet in a
That's cool.
super realistic, satisfying way. And
That's
then
cool.
When you upgrade them, they'll be shooting off like little, like you can build on a moon, for example. And on the moon, you're harvesting like rock or iron or something. And you build these launchers, but if you build a ton of them, they'll be shooting them off like rapid fire. And then you see like an entire stream of things like flying back to your planet and like landing on the planet. And like, it's just satisfying. It's not a super deep game. In fact, it's quite shallow in many ways, but I found it very satisfying, and it's a cute little solo dev game that definitely has some room for improvement and kind of starts to fail a little bit as you get really far along. I'm like, oh, okay, so like I've kind of mastered this, and now I just have to wait like 10 minutes for me to gather all the resources I need.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I thought it's a really fun, cutesy little star harvesting concept.
Well, nice.
And I think he sold like 30,000 copies in the first couple of days of launching it. And
nice.
This is like a solo dev, self-publishing thing, I believe. And that's a huge amount of sales for one dude.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this guy. And I
good
hope
for him.
I hope that means he'll keep working on the game and upgrading it and adding features, because I will buy Starvester DLC, man. I'm all here for it.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. What about you? What other games you've been playing outside of your Bond?
I had a chance to play the Hell Let Loose Vietnam beta.
Yeah.
Which, so I thought this beta was leading up to, because in 2 weeks, I believe, the game I thought was coming out in early access. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this beta's a little rough. But, this is leading to an early access where things you would expect to be a little rough. I didn't realize the game's launching in 2 weeks. It's not an early access. The game is apparently coming out in 1.0. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, this changes my opinion vastly. I learned this just yesterday. So I was like talking to my chat. I'm like, oh yeah, this has got a good bones, good foundation, but it's rough, right? But, in my mind, I'm like, that's okay, because it's going to be early access. So that's the prelude to the game. Hell Let Loose Vietnam, directly coming from Hell Let Loose, right? But set in the Vietnam War. And it's more modern, obviously, than World War II. So you've got your M16s, your AKs, fully automatic, weapons feel good to use, really nice. But you're in the jungles of Vietnam. And it makes things much more close quarters, significantly so. In the original Hell Let Loose, a lot of running out in the open fields, kind of like these weird box corridors where you like have to follow along the roads or the brush to try and not just be out in the open, because if you're out in the open, you're going to get shot by someone, right? Obviously. So things are a lot more intimate. But that also means there's a lot of foliage and the performance is not very desirable.
Dang.
I was getting okay because I was using frame gen, but when I wasn't using frame gen, I was getting around like 70 to 80 maybe, but the graphics didn't even really look all that great for 70 to 80. With frame gen, it was much better, but I'm using frame gen at that point. Other people that aren't using Nvidia graphics cards, I heard an AMD is really struggling. Like they're getting like 40 to 50 FPS, which is
that's tough.
Rough. That's tough. Yeah. Someone I play with occasionally, they said that they had to stop because they were getting motion sickness because of the frame rate, and you definitely don't want that. So the performance is definitely the biggest. Like holy. There's also some bugs. We're out in the distance. I know I'm kind of being negative on this but I kind of feel like I have to. Out in the distance, people were stuttering. They're up close, things were fine, but it was like something going on with the server where out, like further out, you know how things get rendered differently the further they are away. Yeah. And same with like character models and stuff. Well, apparently it also looked like the tick rate further away, like a character would just be like running and then you just see thunk, 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 and there's no way you can follow that at all, right?
It's really common and a really hard problem to solve because you're trying to optimize netcode. And the most important netcode to you is whoever's closest and shooting at you most immediately. And then people further away are less important, generally speaking.
Yep.
But you can fake it with interpolation, or you can track things where, like, if you're aiming at somebody or looking at somebody, the engine can know and be like, give them higher priority with like their netcode or something like that. So that the guys that are off to your peripherals and you're not looking at and behind a wall, you don't need their updates as frequently, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that sucks. Jungles, man, jungle environments are notoriously the hardest thing to do performantly in a video game. Now, granted, some studios do get it, like that Avatar game, you know? Oh my God, looked incredible. And
looks
the
fantastic.
Performance was decent. Gray Zone Warfare also struggling with the jungle performance. You know, their jungle looks incredible, but they're having a hard time with it. And in fact, that's like some of the new tech that the Witcher 4 game got Epic to develop, because they were like, hey guys, like if you want us to use your engine, we've got a checklist of things we want. And Epic was like, done. We'll make all the tech you want. And so they made that nanite forest tech for them, so that everybody's going to benefit from it. But that's on like the newest versions of Unreal and all that stuff. So anybody who made foliage tech prior to that has to use older techniques. And it's really, really hard, especially if you don't come in it with a good strategy from the start. And I mean, you're just dealing with a huge amount of polygons, a huge amount of lighting, a huge amount of shadows. And if you have not optimized that really intelligently, the performance is never going to be good.
Yeah. So I'm a little worried because, like I said, originally thought this was going to be an early access game that they were going to be developing for a while. But to hear that it was like, this is their best foot forward, you know, for 1.0, it's like, ooh, that's not great. Hell Let Loose has never really been known for having the best optimization, unfortunately. But I was kind of hoping that with them, because they're on a new engine, they're actually on, I believe, Unreal 5. So I was hoping that their tech debt from the original game wasn't going to carry on over, but they are struggling.
Yeah.
The fun of it, because I did enjoy my time. I was playing as a sniper, and because you're in a jungle, man, when you get into a nice sniper position and you're like taking people out and you're seeing little bits of movement through the jungle and you finally see the guy stop, right? But all you see is like his shoulder. And so you kind of have to guess where his head is, and you take the shot and you hear that very satisfying ping noise. It was fun. Like there was some really, really cool jungle combat, or you hear rustling next to you and you're like, holy cow, there's a guy right next to me, right? Though that happened a lot, and that was fun. There's also helicopters and stuff in this, which they did not have flying vehicles in Hell Let Loose, so that's new, and those are neat. There's some cool new dynamics that I think are going to add a little bit of flavor that's going to distinguish itself from their first game. But yeah, I'm hopeful that they've got things under control, because they might be in for rude awakening when 1.0 comes out. or just the game releases in a couple of weeks if this is the state of the game for the beta.
Yep.
Because we've seen that before. Oh, don't worry, the game will be great. It's like your beta is 2 weeks from release. What do you mean? We're not this stupid anymore. Or at least I hope we're not this stupid anymore.
Yeah. And I've seen that same sentiment from many other people, whether it's forums or people telling me, they're like, oh my God, the performance is a real problem with this game. Almost certainly a higher up decision, right? Where they're just like, we're out of money. We got to launch this thing. But
we
also,
gotta get going,
if you're going to put it out in that state, call it early access at least. Give yourself a little bit of leeway, because if it is a budgeting thing where they're like, we're out of funds, either we fire everybody or we launch the game. So they're like, okay, well, I guess we launch the game then. Launch it in early access because you will get some money and the reviewers might be a little cooler on you until you get to 1.0. And
truly are in a 1.0 because clearly if you're not ready, I mean, we don't know. We're speculating.
I don't know. We are true.
Yeah.
But why not do that and then take a 6-month extra time or whatever you need to refine the performance and then 1.0 it. You still get the 1.0 sales and then you still get the early access stuff. That said, I have heard that if you're like doing a multi-platform release and all that stuff, you will get better sales if you just go straight to full release. So that might just be the strategy where the higher ups are like, now we're going to make more money if we go full release and we'll just eat the terrible reviews and we'll update the game, or maybe they're not going to update the game. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Obviously there's the demo argument where they're like, oh, that's an early build of the game. We've heard this so many times though throughout the years. We're like, oh, but we're playing a really early demo. And that's a real thing in development. When you build the demo and you build the main branch of the game, these are two different branches. And sometimes it's really hard to bring updates from the main branch into the demo branch. It's like a lot of extra work. And somebody's like, I could do that, man, but now I got to link it all up manually. And that's like 4 or 5 days. And when you're on a small dev team, you're like, I can't sacrifice 4 or 5 days just to update this thing that's never going to even be part of the main experience. Like, we got to put it all in the main branch. So there's a decent argument that yes, the demo is going to be older tech than the main game. However, almost every single time I've heard this argument and then the actual game comes out, the actual game is also poorly optimized. So not saying it's impossible, but unlikely, right?
Yeah. Clearly people were enjoying it though, because while I was playing and over the weekend, it had, I think a peak of 24,000 for the beta.
Wow.
And like it was, So like, and it didn't just like drop off a cliff over for the first day to the next. Like it definitely was going down, but that could have been because people played it, the first night and they're like, okay, I had my fill. It's only one map. I'm not gonna come back for another map, right? But it didn't just like plummet off of the cliff, right? Like people must have at least been enjoying it to some extent.
And it's been a little while since players got a more Milsimi Vietnam era game. So,
for sure.
I know people are pumped for this. Well, I wish them the best of luck, even if the beta had its problems. Me
too.
Conceptually, I like Hell Let Loose. Almost every time I boot it up and try and play it, I'm like, oh, okay, I remember why I stopped playing last time. It's just so...
It is the biggest feast or famine FPS game I've ever played. Yes. Where it is up or it's down. And when it's up, dude, you're getting headshots left and right. You got an awesome flank. They don't know where you are. Dude, you're cooking. And then you're on the receiving end and they're the one who's cooking against you and you're chopped. You're done.
Yeah. It does such a good job of simulating what feels like truly authentic combat. The problem with that is that truly authentic combat is usually a one-sided battle.
You dying.
Yeah. And if you're on the side that's dying, it sucks.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, cool, I just died to a mortar, died to another mortar, died to an airstrike, died to another mortar. Yeah.
Oh, dope. I just went on a 10-minute flank. I got the perfect position with my squad and mortar. Like, what do you mean? there's nothing I can do against this.
Yeah. That is one thing that kind of like bugs me about some games where like I'll even throw like great games out there where it's like Arma Reforger. They got a mortar system, right? But you're firing mortars from so far away, you're not even like seeing them land pretty much. And you're like getting radio calls and all that stuff, but like So it sucks for the guy who got hit by the mortar, and then as the person firing the mortar, you're like, where's my gratification? I'm just like shooting little things on the map.
So I did play for Vietnam. There is a mortar team, and I played as that. And you actually can go in and place a mortar wherever you want, and it can only go so far. So I think it was like 400, 500 meters away.
Okay.
And you have your spotter giving you the details of like where it needs to be in those spot, and then you just start launching them.
Yeah.
There is a noise that you will hear when you hit somebody. So there is like an actual like,
okay.
So you're like, oh dude, we actually got him. And it's fun when you finally start like lining them up where you're actually using that teamwork of you've got someone loading them for you. You've got yourself who's getting the right, coordinates, and then the guy spotting. That is fun. But
so is there kill confirm? There's kill confirm in it. You mentioned the ping sound for headshots and stuff.
So there is a ping for some things. Like if a headshot, you'll hear a ping. You will not hear a ping if you are just running around normally shooting guys. Like there's no kill confirm sound. At least I don't think there's a sound for hitting people. No matter how far away they are, you'll hear like a thunk.
Okay.
Thunk. Right. But there's no like kill confirm sound.
Gotcha.
Other than a headshot.
I will say that is it's so funny how simple things like that are make or break it for me with games. But that was always my big gripe with games like Squad and stuff, where you're just like, I don't know if I got him, and then you don't see him for like 2 minutes. You're like, I guess we'll push the building, and then somebody pops up and kills you, and you're like, all right, like,
yeah, it can be frustrating.
It's just it's interesting, and those types of things get me. So kill confirm with a mortar system, great. But when you have a mortar system without that, then you're just like,
there's nothing at all.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know even what I
feedback.
did this game. I shot a bunch of mortars. Guys were calling it out, and maybe we got some guys, maybe we didn't. And you're like, that for me just grinds my gears. So it's good to know.
We did get a headshot with a mortar. That was fun.
That's dope.
Don't know how, but we heard the headshot notification over the normal ping, and it was like, okay, that's cool.
It would be so cool to have a replay or something at the end of the round. I don't know, like for these types of games where you, even if they don't want to give you a kill confirm during the round, to have like a replay at the end of the match, like here's all your kills, like that'd be sick, right? Show me.
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be a
pretty
cool way to keep.
Expensive, I feel, to do that, but it'd be cool.
Maybe. If you have a replay system built on netcode, it's actually fairly inexpensive in terms of like data storage. You're not storing a lot of data.
Okay.
But it would be complicated to do, but maybe not that complicated. But yeah, that would be a cool incentive to get people to stick around to the end of a match too, right? Because usually when a team is getting like steamrolled, there's not a lot of incentive to hang around and just continue to be cannon fodder for the other team, So getting replays would be a cool way of doing that.
Change the subject. Have you seen the trailer for the game Empulse?
No. Empulse.
It is so it's funny. The creators of Splitgate are making a Titanfall clone. And I'm like, damn, guys, if you're, I mean, that's fine. But at the same time, damn, you're just like, okay, so the Halo inspired first person shooter didn't work. What about the Titanfall inspired FPS game? We'll see how that goes.
I don't know who's funding these projects, dude. Like, even Splitgate 2 is such a risk because.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you make money on the first game, but then you see that retention drop so quickly. And the whole idea for Splitgate is out now. It's old news. So you no longer have that going for you, right? Because the whole excitement of Splitgate was like, whoa, it's a Portal shooter game. Cool. Everybody played it for a few weeks. Everybody stopped playing it like very quickly after that. And then they're like, let's just do that again, but with a bigger budget and bigger goals. And you're like, it's not going to hit twice, guys. Like, you should have just taken the money and made a new concept, which I guess they're doing now. But that dev team, I think, has burned their cred a bit. And Splitgate 2 just had such bad design ideas that, people coming into their next game are going to be like, okay, they're coming in with skepticism, right? You're not coming in with optimism. You're coming in with way more skepticism.
I don't know if I'd say Splitgate necessarily had bad designs. I think that the Battle Royale was...
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. But I meant like the core gameplay of like the portals and stuff like that. Super fun. Like, it is genuinely a good time. But then after you play it for a couple hours, you're like, okay, I've had my fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out. Like, there's no investment for me to want to keep going, go. Right. And I think that's probably it's just arena shooters. Arena shooters are really hard to keep people
they're
invested.
Exhausting too. You ever notice that where like back when arena shooter was the only option we had to play, you would play it, but then you would put it down after a little while because the twitch reflexes, the crazy movement, all that stuff, you are fully engaged while you're gaming in a much higher degree than you are with, say, Counter-Strike or a tactical shooter where you can hold a corner for a while, Arena shooters are like jump pads, rocket jumps, like laser beam this dude while flying through the air, dead, respawn, like just over and over and over and over. And that's a little more exhausting. And I felt like I could never do that as much as I did tactical shooters. So yeah, unless you have a different sort of incentive system or some sort of hybrid, right? Where it's like a combination of like arena mechanics, but not always on style gameplay. Give your brain a little bit of a rest, then you could do it.
So we'll see how Empulse does. I think it could be the right time, right? People have been clamoring for a Titanfall experience and a Titanfall game, and maybe
Respawn's not making it, so
right, Respawn's not doing it. So if it's good and it genuinely is fun to play, and they somehow get around the fact that Titanfall was a high skill ceiling game where it really just kicked people in the shins if you weren't, one of the better players, and that really hurt the retention. If they can get around that, then maybe they'll have something that will keep people around. We'll see.
I think the only way you can do that, and this is like sort of high level think, is like you accept the fact that this is a niche audience. You accept the fact that the arena shooter and the high skill movement shooter is a niche audience. It could be bigger, but it's going to take a long time to grow that. So you build a game and you design a support around much lower profit margins. Like you just have to. And if you design the game with high profit margins, like you make a marathon or you make a Lawbreakers or something like that, and guess what? There isn't a huge audience for it, and you've made a thing that needs, $1 million a month to stay alive, like you have failed now. So design it with low profit margins in mind if you want it to be around for a while. Otherwise, it's just not going to be, Yeah. Unless whatever they do something crazy. I could eat my words and it could be an amazing game and everybody goes for it, but I really don't think so. And I wouldn't put my money on it, but
I'm always hopeful for games to be fun and, successful, but I don't blame your cynicism in this respect. Cause they've got an uphill battle. So I wish them well. And I hope that they can figure it out, but it's going to be tough.
Dude, the way that financing the shooter industry, like the FPS industry, just seems insane to me because it is such a risky genre to try and break into. Because what are you trying to do? If you're trying to do a multiplayer shooter, you're like, either we have the next biggest game in the world or we fail. Like, there's not a lot of in between. There is a little in between, but not a lot. So it's either you're a mega hit with some new concept that everybody loves, you completely fail, or somehow you kind of carve out a small niche, but like of what? Of which genre are you carving a niche out of,
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like I don't envy people on FPS teams trying to create the next big thing or something to compete with juggernaut AAA games, just so risky, so difficult. Or 100%. The now well-established AA industry, right? There's quite a few AA games like the Hell Let Loose and Squad and whatever that have got their niches now. So the niches have been filled pretty well. So unless you got the new crazy idea, the Titanfall niche, maybe there's a Titanfall.
It would be fun to have a Titanfall style game that, doesn't simmer and die.
Yeah. Did you see that there's a new console coming out?
What?
I wouldn't blame you if you didn't hear about it. It's called Nex Playground, and it's basically like the Wii U, well, whatever. They were both motion control, right? The Wii and the Wii U. I forget. It looks like a dongle that you plug into your TV, essentially, but it's like built around family.
Is it $300 and looks like a cube?
I think so. Yeah. So it's basically like for family.
Oh, let's go. 5 free starter games. Fruit Ninja. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's basically like a motion control type thing. So you plug it into your TV, and then the family plays goofy motion control games, which for a low price point, kind of like, you know what? That's not the craziest idea ever.
So it's a Xbox Connect.
Yeah. Or parts of a Wii U, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like taking these concepts and saying like, all right, you're not going to play Call of Duty on this thing, but you can play your goofy motion control games and have a little bit of fun with it and make it more like a family style
geared
console.
Towards children.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's legit a new gaming platform, right?
Oh, cool.
So I don't know. I think
I'll have to keep my eye on it.
I think it's a cool idea. I kind of like the idea of a family-friendly, fun for the whole family console design. You know, because there's plenty of things you could do with your friends at the house that are like fun motion control style games or board games or whatever. You know,
it doesn't have to just be for children. Yeah, you can definitely make something that works for all folks.
Yeah, well, it's like Mario Party. You know, like. Those games are so simple, but they're so much fun to play with people because you get the whole concept in like 3 seconds of every new mini game. And you're like, okay, I'm going to beat you in the trick shot game and I'm going to shoot more baskets. And then there's subtle nuanced strategy in there and everybody's laughing and nobody cares if you ultimately lose.
Actually win or lose.
Yeah. It's just a good time. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, a new console? What? What crazy person would try and get into that market? But it kind of makes sense. It's sort of, they're going after a niche that the other consoles aren't interested in because it's too expensive or they're trying to make it too profitable. And they're like, okay, well, now the tech is cheap. We can make a console super cheap that does these things.
Well,
yeah, I hope it does well.
Me too.
The Summer Game Fest is more or less upon us. In fact, when this podcast goes live, I think
it's going to be Summer Game Fest, PlayStation, Xbox. They're all doing their thing.
Yeah. Anything you're looking forward to? I hear
games.
I think they're going to showcase the new Wolverine game tomorrow, which will be yesterday when this podcast goes live. But that one could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I don't have anything specific because I think right now we haven't really gotten a lot of big game announcements. This next year, the rest of this year is a little veiled in secrecy right now. Maybe because of Grand Theft Auto and people not wanting to commit to a release date. But yeah, so I'm just kind of waiting to see what is revealed because there hasn't really been a lot of big announcements.
Yeah. So hopefully in the next, because I think it's going like between State of Play, which is tomorrow, and maybe Xbox, I think that's on the 7th. So yeah, we're basically getting a week of hopefully tons of game announcements and release dates and all that stuff. So
yeah,
keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully there'll be something really cool.
Yeah.
I see a little Path of Exiles 2 on your list there, Matt.
Yeah, I did. So I played a little bit. They added, goddamn, Path of Exile 2 is one of the biggest games. It is so unbelievably massive.
The skill tree alone is a game in itself.
It really is. And they just came out with their 0.5 update. And it is the update that is going to be before 1.0. Their next big update will be 1.0. And that 1.0 will have like all the campaign missions and, hopefully like swords and stuff, right?
Yeah, I forgot about the sword thing. That's so funny. When that game came out, people are like, there's no swords in this game. I was like, there aren't any swords.
There aren't any. Yeah, no, and there's still no swords. For whatever reason, there's still no swords. But dude, this update came with so much, especially endgame. So if you're someone who likes the endgame, which is like what all these games are all about, right?
Yeah.
ARPGs. They added in like a completely redefined Atlas tree with like 300 new nodes. There's 30 new bosses, bunch of pinnacle new encounters. They've added
30 new bosses? Holy
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
Maybe 15. Maybe I'm getting those numbers mixed up, but they just keep cooking. Like, I swear, there's so many enemies, there's so many unique bosses, and there's so many cool, like, just going through the main campaign, there's so many awesome bosses with like cool designs where you're just like, you're so sick. And so I've been playing through. I've been playing as a monk, and I'm only in Act 2. I'm getting close to the end of Act 2. But the monk got a new ascendancy. There's a Spirit Walker ascendancy for one of the class. I can't remember which class. It might just be called Spirit Walker. And they have the ability to summon and use as minions bosses, beast bosses.
What?
So if you know that giant monkey with the giant,
way. Really?
pillar, you can use him as a minion to fight alongside you.
How does that even work?
I don't know, but you can do it. Like, it's just, so they just keep adding so many crazy new mechanics and cool things like that. So that's really fun. And yeah, great time to jump in. Full disclosure, I did a sponsored stream for them. So this is the reason why I know all of this stuff. Because it's just a lot.
But we have both played Path of Exile quite a bit unsponsored.
Yeah, before that.
Yeah. And we both like it.
I like it a lot.
Yeah,
a lot. I've never gotten to endgame because it's quite the commitment, and my builds.
I have gotten to endgame, and I got salty because they updated it, and then I was like, none of my skill tree worked. None of my items.
Your build.
And I was like, I spend like 3 hours just rebuilding my character, not from a gameplay perspective, but from just screwing around with skill trees and item crafting, or I just make a new character at this point. Which is probably how I'm going to
beginning of early access, though, wasn't it? When they were making more substantial changes.
They did a lot. Yeah. I mean, granted, because there was classes that were super OP and then other ones that were totally unviable. And you're like, okay, that's not good.
Yeah. This time around, I don't know if it's just because the monk has been insane, but like my monk feels way easier. I'm not cruising through it, but it's like I'm doing some damage to these enemies, right? So I don't know if they've leveled off the difficulty a little bit. Like, it's still challenging, and you still can't you're not a tank. Like, I'm still getting hit really hard, but at least I feel like I'm doing damage.
Yeah.
'Cause that was one of the things I had early on, where like some of these classes where I'm like, I'm just not doing any damage at all. Like, what do you mean?
Are you
this is
looking
taking
at
10 minutes.
Build strategies to play, or are you just doing?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a little bit of builds, like using builds, but also kind of just like seeing what works for me and then going from there.
That was one of my gripes with the game, is that it felt to a degree that if I didn't at least research some build strategies somewhat, or some leveling guides or something, then things could get really too hard, and it felt like there was almost no way out of it until I completely restructured, but not on my ideas as much, instead on somebody else. Because there's so much math that goes into the skill tree where you're like, I don't know if this is multiplying before or after or whatever. And so you're like, am I doing 10x damage or 1x damage? You don't know, because the math of it is not explained until some YouTuber is like, here's the math of it, because we've tested it all.
I agree. There's like, right now I'm using a skill that I would never have used because it's not for the monk specifically, that was recommended, so I'm like, oh, but it really helps. It's something that reduces the elemental resistance of the enemy. And I'm doing like a frost kind of build right now. Right. And so it's like that on a boss, plus me just shunking ice at him, is obviously really powerful, but I would never have found that out on my own. Right, by myself. So have a little bit of guidance, and then sort of kind of taking it over from there, just like what works. Like, oh, that ability is kicking ass, right? Like, I'll put more focus into that ability, right? Yeah. So
it is a cool game. It's like the end game action RPG to a degree, where you're just like, infinite skills. I want infinite skills and infinite customization. They're like, we got you.
They do. They actually do. It's kind of bonkers. So
yeah. Cool.
I'm happy with it. I think the community from what I've seen, has been pretty happy with it, but I'm not as in tune with it, but
I'll get back to it one day when I'm ready.
I'd wait until probably 1.0 if you're because that's the next big update, and that's when they're going to have all the campaign stuff finished.
Is that when the game goes free to play? Is that still the plan?
Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty badass of them to do that, to be honest. Like, it's kind of because I mean, you get so much with Path of Exile, like, is a free to play game. It's kind of hard to beat it to a degree, which is probably why they're a huge studio making a massive ARPG. But it's cool, man. I'm happy for them. Let's see, entertainment wise, I'm kind of late to the party, but we finally started watching Silo, which is entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is entertaining. Slow burn at the start.
Yes. I almost stopped watching it because I was like, I can predict the next 3 episodes, and it kind of did. Yeah. But they start to ramp up, and it's fun. And the things that I was kind of like, why don't they just do this? That makes more sense. They've sort of explained it a little bit better so that I'm not yelling at the screen as much. But I will say, man, if you're going to build a reactor that needs to be maintained, like, you have a release valve, bro. Like, I get it. It's for TV. And
the whole reactor thing was a bit silly, and like the water and like the viability of that entire scene was silly, but it was made for television, right?
It was made for TV,
for drama.
But it bothered me because I was like, man, you can still create tense stuff if you just spend an extra 5 minutes thinking about a reason. The release valve was broken in the earthquake of whatever. Okay, now you can't release the stuff. So now you have a time limit. But don't tell me that the system was designed to not ever be worked on. Like, what a ridiculous...
Right.
I'm cool with it, Matt. The engineer in me is calming down a little bit, but only a little. Because, I mean, so much of this show concept is a sustainable society in a closed environment.
They've also been there for a very, very, very long time, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the show is the mystery is the world itself. And that's what keeps, and as long as they can keep delivering on that promise of like, we're going to tell you more about the world, and we're going to keep, and as long as they keep making that interesting, and it's not like, oh, it was they were dead all along, and this was actually purgatory.
Yeah.
I'm not bitter about a certain show. But yeah, so I like it, and I'm glad you're at least giving it a try.
Yeah. I'm into it. I made it past the slow start, and now I'm like, okay.
It is definitely a slow start.
Yeah. But I get it. Got to build up the characters, got to build up the environment and stuff. And they're all enjoyable, man.
Yeah.
Any shows, new things for you?
Nope.
Have you seen
just boring boy?
We were talking about both Obsession and Backrooms a little bit, but those movies, which I have not seen either of yet, but I do want to see
taken off.
They keep showing up in the news for being some of the most profitable movies ever based on
Obsession. I don't think he had $1 million budget. It's like 750,000, and they're now over $1 million, $100 million.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, Backrooms made for I think 10 million or something like that. Because they got a pretty big actor in it, which is probably where half the budget went. Right, was for him. And then. And that one's also taken off. So the story around it is not just that these movies were made for a little bit of money, but that they're basically, they're content creators that are at the head of this.
Content creators, but also new blood. They're new. They're younger. Like they're like 26 years old. I don't know what the Backrooms, how old he is, but they're not like old wizened, wise men who've been in the industry for 50 years and they're making movies. So
like basically the story is like the film industry has been this gated community, right? Because you have to go with a film studio, essentially, whether it's A24 making indie films or, a big studio producing high budget stuff. They're not going to give you money unless you have a proven track record and all this stuff and all this clout and stuff. Now all of a sudden they're giving these newbies a chance and they're knocking it out of the park, making tons of money, being like, hey, guess what? Our experience and our youth and connectivity with the audiences is letting us build films and scripts and stuff that really people want to watch. And I want to see them too. Like I see the trailer. They might not be good. I haven't seen them.
Both of them have been really well received. So I would be surprised if you bounced off them hard.
Yeah. Fair enough. So it's cool. It's exciting. I hope it means that there's sort of a new approach to filmmaking here, or maybe these studios are going, oh crap, maybe we should stop gatekeeping all this stuff so much and just giving it to the same like super famous directors who hit or miss so often, you know? Because like some of these big time directors, you're like, they make a lot of crappy films. Like they're not making bangers every single time. Sometimes they drop something and you're like, ugh. You're all, like, I mean, man, one of my love-hate directors is J.J. Abrams, where I'm just like, sometimes he does something that's awesome, and other times I'm like, who even are you, dude? Like, this is embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. This is a terrible movie. And you're just like, I don't know. Somehow these guys get all the money from the big studio heads, the big execs, and they get to make all the movies. But it's nice to see some fresh blood there, and I hope that continues.
It's probably going to open up the door for more of these, because you're going to see they're like, oh, we could maybe put a little bit of seed money into this, seed money into that, and maybe it will blossom into something big. We didn't have to risk a lot, but who knows?
Well, what's funny is like, and I remember this very vividly when I was probably 18, 20-ish age range, thinking about how passionate I was about like making games and working on stuff like that. Yep. How far my journey was to actually being in any sort of position where I could make a creative decision on a project. Like it was just the distance between me being in what I felt was my prime to do this work and the opportunities felt so far apart, other than just doing everything yourself, and just YOLOing it and being some crazy solo dev or something. Which was way less realistic even back then, because it was kind of pre-internet being useful.
You're ancient.
Yeah, I'm ancient, but also the indie development scene wasn't even a thing. That Steam wasn't a thing, all that stuff.
Yep.
So, seeing that now of these young filmmakers coming out, because that's also what I was into. I was into independent movies and making movies, and I shot a couple ones, with friends and stuff, and it's like, it just seemed like the path to get there was so far. Yeah. So it's cool to see that opening up earlier and earlier for people. And I think that's sort of what YouTube and content creation has proven, is that sure, young people by and large will be less professional than your seasoned veteran worker or whatever, but it doesn't mean that they're less talented or less creative or know what the audience are less aware of what the audience wants. There's just sort of been a long-standing ageism, essentially. Well,
I think you're right. I do think that these two individuals are a bit of an outlier. I think that they are probably outside of the norm, because if the passion is there. I look back on my early YouTube career, and I was incredibly passionate. I wanted to make content. I look back at that content, and it was bad, right? So it's the passion needs to be there, but because that's what gets you to the point where you become good at what you're doing.
Sure.
Right. So I do agree with your statement, but I also think that there a little bit of time needs to be. And if you look at the director for Obsession, he had a YouTube channel, and they were making short videos and YouTube videos for a while before he got to this. So it's not like he was just some guy who had a really great idea and then bam, he's already good at.
Oh yeah, you got it. Right? You have to prove yourself in some way. You can't just be literally a nobody, being like, "Give me a chance,"
Right.
Yeah, and also, making a movie is a collaborative effort, right? You have a director of photography, you have assistant director, you have all these people making really big, important creative decisions surrounding you. So even if you are not a seasoned filmmaker in that you're like, oh, I know the best way to shoot this, get yourself a good director of photography that will do it for you. I
guess the point I was trying to make is the passion of 18, I don't think diminishes too much by the time you're 26, but the skill set from 18 years old to 26 is vast.
That's a very good point.
That was kind of the point I was trying to make.
Yeah. It is a good point, man. Cool. Well, unless you want to hear about my brand new minivan.
Well, we'll hear about that after the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. I think we can wrap up the podcast here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for dropping by to our Patreon members. If you guys want to support the podcast further, check out our Patreon links down below. You can watch us record live and then hang out afterwards and talk about exciting stuff like minivans, mountain biking, what kind of foods Matt eats. It's not a lot. He's kind of a basic dude, but you know, we get through it.
It's true. It's not wrong.
And yeah, so come by for all that entertaining conversation. I think it's
We're really
that
selling
well.
this Patreon, my friend. Yeah. Please support us by then listening to us talk about really entertaining foods that we
I am
eat,
not a salesman, dude.
You're not. It's okay. It's all right.
I bought a car over the weekend, and there was a good salesman dude selling it. I was going to buy it anyway, but he was talking it up, and I was like, "You're good at your job, man. I do not have this skill set. You know what you're
doing. Yeah.
Do not have this skill set." You know.
Yeah. You're gonna. He's like, "You want to go out on a date later too? Because man, you are selling this right now. Whew. Buttering me up."
There's people that can somehow relate to anybody. You know, get in there with a little story and be like, "Oh, I know what you're talking about." And you're like, "Oh man, that's a skill set."
It is. Very much is.
I was in awe of a good old school salesman selling me a car. But regardless of whether or not you're a Patreon member, you can Matt's gonna leave you with some super helpful, potentially 007 related advice.
So this one is not 007. This is actually going to be Forza related advice.
Okay.
And that is that if you are someone who is absolutely obsessed with the game and you've been trying to find every single road on the map, because that's like an achievement, right? You've got to find all the roads. There's like 671 of them. Mm-hmm. And you're not able to find the road because for whatever reason, they designed it the way that they did. What you can do, at least if you're on PC, is you can use your mouse to wiggle back and forth along the roads. And if you look at the bottom left, it will change because you can only fast travel to roads you've discovered. And so if you see it like tweak a little bit, the UI kind of adjusts, that means that you have not found something in that area. So you can kind of wiggle your mouse back and forth. And when you see it kind of blip, figure out where that was, then fast travel close, and then you can discover that final couple of roads that you've been looking for. Nice little helpful tip that's assisted me in my endeavors. So,
oh my gosh, you're completionisting Forza, dude?
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck with that, Matt. That sounds.
I'm not gonna do 100% because apparently the later challenges are like 1,000 hours worth of content. So I was like, I am not doing that, but. Yeah, I'm just, driving around, having fun. I don't care. Like, yeah, why not?
It's cool.
It's like one of those things where if you're close to it, you're like, I might as well grab all of the little acorns around the map.
And
why
then
not?
When you got 90%, you're like, well, I got to get that last 10%.
Exactly.
I'm not going to finish this.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it sounds like fun. Glad you're enjoying it. Everybody, thank you so much for dropping by the podcast. We appreciate y'all. I hope you have a good rest of your week and stay tuned for that Summer Game Fest announcement. I'm sure we'll be chatting more about that next podcast.
Next week. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.